The first question is, which of the following statements regarding Muslim women protection of rights on marriage bill 2019 are correct? So the first statement is, it made instant triple talaq a civil offense. Second thing, it provides for maximum punishment of jail term of 3 years and fine for a Muslim man who commits this offense. Third thing, it also makes triple talaq a non-cognizable offense. So now try to see the options, and then by seeing the options, try to see what is the common option that is present in all the, what is the common statement that is present in all the options, and try to eliminate that. For example, if you see in ABCD, ABC at least one is common, and if you are very sure about one, and if you can eliminate one whether it is there or not, then you will be able to crack this question. So even if you know nothing about this, don't be scared. Just take a rough guess. There's nothing wrong in taking a guess, and nobody is going to fine you or something. So try to take a guess, pick one option, and mark it in your paper. I'll anyway show you the answer and I'll explain that also. Okay, read once again and then mark an option so that we'll discuss the solution. So why I've taken this question is basically because in August, this triple talaq became a huge controversy, and this bill was very prominent from UPSC and from current affairs aspect, because there were many amendments made and many controversies, and then there was a Supreme Court judgment also on triple talaq. Like Supreme Court first said triple talaq is an invalid thing, like whoever says triple talaq, even then that marriage is invalid. That means it will not be valid, or giving divorce through triple talaq is not an valid option. Even then government went ahead and made this bill to protect the rights of Muslim women. So that is why this bill is very important. So if you have done the answer, I'm going to reveal the answer for this. Don't try to just skip or pass it on. Take a rough guess. That is how you start attempting. Okay, so now here, as I said, the correct answer is D, 2 only. Okay, so why 2 only? First thing, if I'm an aspirant like you and I know a very little bit, I don't know the exact provisions of this, how I will approach this question. Now out of first three, second one is talking about a punishment of at least 3 years. If you know, you can mark it either right or not, but we'll be never sure about exact years. So leave the second option from marking first of all. If you leave second, first and three are options where you can apply your analytical skills. Now we see it made instant triple talaq a civil offense. Okay, that is first statement. And what is the third statement? It says it also makes triple talaq a non-cognizable offense. So if you know the meaning of non-cognizable offense, then you will be able to know either one will be correct or three will be correct, but not 1 and 3. Why? Because generally if it is a civil offense, then it will be a non-cognizable. Sorry, 1 and 3 will be the option. 1 and 3 will be either correct or 1 and 3 will be wrong. Because if it is a civil offense, what are civil offense? Civil offenses are offenses where the gravity of crime is not that great. That means like a theft or a nuisance. These are kind of offenses which are civil. These are not very dangerous crimes, right? So for them, it will be under non-cognizable offense range. So that is why either 1 and 3 should be correct or 1 and 3 should be wrong. So if we see here, then if you see the options, either 1 and 3 should be correct or 1, 2 and 3 should be correct. So you can safely eliminate the first one, 1 and 2. So this is kind of rough guess. I know this will be very confusing and it will not be easily applicable to every person. So if I am attempting this, I would have either made 1 and 3 as correct or 1 and 3 as wrong, because I know triple talaq from the fact that it is a cognizable offense. So I will eliminate all the options where 3 is involved. So 1 and 3 is stuck down, C, 1, 2 and 3 is stuck down. Then I'm left with A and D. So here when you are left with two options, you can take a guess. Either you can go for A or D, even if you are not sure about them, because there is a probability of 50% of getting it correct. So these are the questions where you can still go for a guess. And finally, because of the fact, if you know perfectly, then the option is D, that is 2 only. Why the first one is wrong is because instant triple talaq is not a civil offense, but it is a criminal offense. Another logic is already Supreme Court has made it invalid. then what is the need of again passing a law if we want to make it a civil offense itself? So try asking this way also. So triple talaq is a criminal offense. So that is first thing. Second statement is absolutely correct. So like the maximum punishment is 3 years prison and punishment. Here also, for any civil offense, the punishment will not be this much like 3 years. If it is a civil offense, it will be only for 6 months or at the max 1 year. So those are the kind of punishments. So from the punishment time also you can imagine, only for criminal offenses the punishment will be very large. Like even for heinous crimes like rape and all, it's starting with 7 years. So you can imagine, like for civil offense it will be less than 3 years. And third thing, triple talaq is a cognizable offense. Okay, it is not non-cognizable. Third statement is also wrong. It is a cognizable offense. Now we will see the triple talaq bill provisions, history, and why it came, all these aspects. So don't be in a hurry to take these notes. I'll give these slides to you also. So if you find anything important, just note it down in a word. If and anyway, I will be giving or sharing this slide with you. Yeah. So coming back to triple talaq. So first, what is triple talaq? So triple talaq means talaq, 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 and talaq. So if somebody, a man says 3 times talaq, that means he is giving effectively divorce to that woman. So it is especially in the Muslim community. So this is triple talaq. So being that such an archaic kind of provision, this law is majorly banned from even the customs of Muslim community also. But because certain people are practicing it, they went first to Supreme Court. So Supreme Court made this provision as invalid. Okay. And second important fact is the Muslim Personal Law Shariat Application Act of 1937. So this act has actually legalized the practice of this instant divorce. So this is the problem. If this law wouldn't add this as a legal provision, this would not have been a important problem, or the government, there was no need for the government to pass a law to make it invalid. And you also already know, I guess, that in India we don't have a common civil code. That is, we don't have uniform civil code. Hindus have separate civil codes, Muslims have separate civil code, and Christians have separate code. So there are certain laws that are applicable to that community only. So part of that is Muslim personal law. So because of this invalid and inhuman practice, Supreme Court declared it as invalid, and then government passed this law, that is Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2019. So the provisions of it are triple talaq is cognizable offense. So now what is cognizable offense? So cognizable offense is one for which a police officer may arrest an accused person without warrant. So they don't need to go to magistrate to get a warrant and then arrest you. For example, if there is another crime like nuisance or searching your house, for that they have to go and get an arrest warrant. So that is a kind of non-cognizable offense. So if an offense is declared as cognizable, they can come and arrest you. So that is triple talaq declared as cognizable offense. Second thing, it becomes cognizable only when complaint is made either by victim or her relative, either through blood or marriage. So this is another important provision that they might use in one of the options of prelims. Okay, because this was a major controversy. Earlier, this was not the provision. Earlier, anyone who hurts that someone gave triple talaq can go and complain. So because of controversy, government made this law. That means only that woman or her brother or newlywed husband can only file the complaint against that person. Okay. And next thing, punishment with imprisonment is for 3 years and then fine. So this option we have already seen. And final thing, a married Muslim woman is entitled to get the custody of the minor children also. This is special thing. And another unique feature is she also can claim subsistence allowance. Okay. So if you all know, whenever a person applies for divorce, the man has to pay the allowance to the wife from his earnings to support her when she files for divorce. But here there is no divorce. Triple talaq itself is being declared as invalid and criminal offense, and he is sent to prison. Even when he is sent to prison, he has to pay the subsistence allowance to women. So this is kind of another controversy, why it became a controversy. Like in mains answer also, if someone asks like what are the limitations or what are the challenges, then you can pick up these are the kind of points, like why it is being contested. Because people say when a person is sent to jail, how can he pay the allowance? If he gets a salary, he can pay. So this is the kind of provisions of that bill. So now this is completed. Now I want you to also go and check about uniform civil code, because UPSC might not stop here. It might ask you also about uniform civil code and directive principles, which refers to uniform civil code. So it is article 44, I believe, that refers to uniform civil code. So try to see the background and what are the acts, what are the personal laws that are made in this aspect. So this is on a whole about triple talaq. So the second question, which of the following statements regarding Amazon forests are incorrect? Amazon rainforest is the world's largest tropical rainforest and provides 30% of Earth's oxygen supply. Second statement, it is spread over more than 7 countries. And third statement, Amazon River, which runs through Amazon rainforest, is also world's largest river by water volume. Fourth one, it drains into Pacific Ocean. So now see all the options carefully. And very important thing is, I don't want to highlight this, but okay, being this is the first class, I'll tell you. Here again, the statement is incorrect. So try to find out the incorrect statements, not the correct ones. So this is another important keyword that you have to focus. So now try to see this, eliminate accordingly, and arrive at the answer. So I'll give half a minute and then I'll disclose the answer. Take a guess or try to imagine. Now it will be pretty difficult, I know, where is Amazon rainforest and all, but close your eyes and imagine where is Amazon rainforest. First of all, in which country it is, which continent it is. Then you will be able to know where, whether there is Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, or Pacific Ocean which is around, or where that river might go. Because if you eliminate the fourth option, then you will arrive at the answer, if you know whether it is correct or not. You don't need to know every detail of Amazon River. All you need to know is visual map of where Brazil is and which are the oceans that surround the Brazil. And then imagine from which direction Amazon River flows. Then you'll get the answer. So this is how you have to approach the answer once you see the question. Because out of this four, you shouldn't focus on 1, 2, 3. Instead, you should focus on 4. And if you eliminate the 4 by either marking it correct or wrong, then you'll mark the option. So instead of attempting this question in 2 minutes, you'll be able to attempt this question in around 30 seconds itself, so that you can focus your energy on next question. So if you're done, I'll disclose the answer. Okay. So here, before disclosing the answer, if you know, for the Brazil map, on the left side of Brazil, it will be Pacific Ocean. On the right side of Brazil, or right side of entire Southern America, Southern America continent, right side will be Atlantic, left side will be Pacific. So have you ever seen Amazon River going into Pacific Ocean? It will be flowing into the Atlantic Ocean, that is on the east side. So the answer, the fourth one, is wrong. Now, Amazon River, which runs through Amazon rainforest, is also world's largest river by water volume. So this is a fact. Either if you know it is correct or not, you can't guess it here. So remove, don't consider third. Second one, it is spread over more than 7 countries. For this also, you need to know all the surrounding countries of Brazil. If you know at least some countries, then you can count and then eliminate. Because it is saying more than 7. So at least 7 you should know. Then only you can eliminate. So it is pretty difficult, I understand. And I also made a mistake here. I have given answer based on correct one. Okay, so I'll correct that. So here it is. Okay, the answer is correct. It is B, 2 and 3. No, see, here don't consider the option B. Okay, this is not the correct one. If the question would have been which of the following statements regarding Amazon forests are correct, then this option is correct. Okay, so we'll go statement by statement. I'll explain them. So Amazon rainforest is the world's largest tropical rainforest. Still here it is correct. It is the largest tropical rainforest. But will it provide 30% of Earth's oxygen supply? This is not correct. It provides only 20%. So this is a fact. We'll show you in the other slides. So the first one is wrong. Second thing, it's spread over more than 7 countries. Yes, it is spread over more than 7 countries. In fact, it is spread over 9 countries. I'll show you the map also. Don't worry. So second one is correct. Third one, Amazon River, which runs through Amazon rainforest, is also world's largest river by water volume. This is also correct. So 2 and 3 both are correct. Now the fourth option, it drains into Pacific Ocean. So this is something wrong. So the correct answer would be 1 and 4. But unfortunately, I didn't mention it in option. Sorry for this mistake. So I myself have fallen into this trap. Like instead of assuming it incorrect, I have assumed it as correct and marked answer B. So the correct answer for this will be 1 and 4. So yeah, you can mark all of your answers as correct. Okay, so now we'll go with the explanation slide. So now why this question came into, why I have asked this question. This is because in August there was an event called Amazon Fires, and that was very important because many world leaders have actually criticized Brazil's president and Brazil for its inaction on controlling the Amazon fires. That is why Amazon fires is very important from this year perspective. So if you can see 2019 American rainforest wildfires happened around August 29, 2019. They were came under control, I believe. So they lost huge acres of forest because of these fires. Now we'll see the features of Amazon rainforest. So if you see here, it is the world's largest tropical rainforest and does the critical task of providing Earth with 20% of oxygen supply. Now don't worry about these facts. If UPSC would have asked this question, it would have given you some hint in the options itself. It would have made something like, if you eliminate one option, you would have arrived at the answer. So don't try to remember the uh, figures or data. You will be able to eliminate the options if you know the context. So that is 20%. Second thing, it covers 6% of the Earth's surface and it spans 9 countries. So here, this is important. You don't need to know all the 9 countries, or you don't need to remember, but you need to know neighbors of Brazil. You all know that rainforest is in Brazil, right? So you need to know at least what are the boundary states or countries of Brazil. So here, these are the 9 countries. And for remembering also, always when you see the map, go from either bottom to top or top to bottom. So now we'll go from bottom. So now if you see this is Brazil, then it is Bolivia from the down. And then on the southwest side, it is Peru. And then Ecuador. And then Colombia. And then Venezuela. And then Guyana. And then Suriname. And then French Guiana. So this is how. And this Amazon river, if you can see from here, it is starting and flowing somewhere from Brazil to French Guiana, so in Brazil only, and then going or draining into Atlantic Ocean, because this is Atlantic Ocean. On the left side of Ecuador, it is Pacific Ocean. So that is how you can remember. So always visualize, see the map. And another fact, if you can see from this map, is around 80%, or there will be fact also how much it is. Yeah, Brazil houses 60% of the rainforest. That means out of this entire Amazon rainforest, 60% is in the Brazil. So that is also important. Majority is in Brazil and rest of them in other areas. So those are the facts. And the third important unique feature is it shelters almost 10% of the world's known biodiversity. Okay. And next thing, Amazon River. So Amazon River is also important. Okay. Why? First of all, we'll see the longest river. So what is the longest river in the world? So many of you know that Nile is the longest river. So after Nile, it is Amazon. That is the second longest river. But when it comes to largest, when we say largest, it is about the volume of the water that is held by the river. So that is largest. But Amazon is the largest river, not Nile. So Amazon is largest in volume and Nile is the longest in the length. Okay. And another unique feature of Amazon rainforest is, I want to show you map and then explain that. So if you see, this is Brazil, okay? And this is Southern America continent. So Sahara desert is somewhere in the African continent. So this is Sahara. You can see my mouse pointer, right? So this is Sahara desert. Every year what happens is there will be sandstorms here, some disturbances here, and these sandstorms will take the phosphorus from African continent and deposit in rainforests of Brazil. And this phosphorus is very important for growth of rainforests and also for the fertilization. So that is the importance of Sahara desert in sustaining the Amazon rainforest. So Sahara Desert impacts the rainforest, Amazon rainforest, by supplying phosphorus, which is essential for fertilization. This is also one of the unique feature which might be asked in some kind of prelims questions. And finally, Amazon has lost about 20% of its size in recent years. That is why we are so much concerned about Amazon. If it has lost already 20%, and now there is another threat like climate change, then in coming decades, if we lose any more Amazon forest, that means our oxygen supply, I told like 20% of it comes. So that will be reduced. Then that will have significant impact on the human survival itself. And there is a report also that says that 75% of Amazon forest could be destroyed by just a 3-degree rise in the temperature. So from all these aspects and features, Amazon forest is very important. And now for you, what is the research that you need to know is Amazon fund. Try to know about what is Amazon fund, because Amazon fund is something that is providing finance to provide for kind of afforestation, and then also to sustain the forest. They are giving some finances. So what is the mechanism and all? Next thing, there is UN Red program to support these kind of forests. In India also they have this program. So try to know what is this UN, who supports and all. And third thing is Global Environment Facility. So this is a financial mechanism under Paris deal and under climate conventions. So try to know about this also, like who supports it, where it is and all. This is about this Amazon forest fires. So now we have covered 2 questions. Now we'll go into the third one. So third one talks about which of the following statements about indexes used to measure economic activity are correct. First one, purchasing managers index above 50 denotes expansion and below 50 denotes contraction. PMI is published monthly by Central Statistical Office. Third thing, it is also used for GDP calculation. So now try to mark your answer. We'll go a bit fast on this from here because we have just completed only 2 questions so far. So if you have all marked the option, just try to take a guess based on whatever the information you have. So here if we see the options, it is about asking correct statements. And if somebody have already read about purchasing managers index, it is something, an index that is used to measure manufacturing activity in a country. So this first statement is correct. If it is above 50, that is 51 or 52, if they provide for a month, that means the manufacturing is expanding. That means it is in a good progress. If it is less than 40, like 49.5 or 48 or something, that means contraction. That means manufacturing is contracting. So that way, by knowing it in every month before the month starts, you will know whether manufacturing is growing or not. So that is a very useful index for that purpose. So the first statement is correct. Second thing, PMI is published monthly by Central Statistical Office. This is a fact. This is completely wrong. PMI is published monthly. Till that point it is correct. But it is published not by CSO. It is not published even by government. It is published by a private agency called Nikki Index, Nikki India. So Nikki India publishes it. Okay. Don't worry. I will show you the slides and you can write it down from there also. So that is a private. And third thing, it is used for GDP calculation. I said it is published by private. So do you think government will consider a private index for calculating a GDP of government index or government statistic? No. So that is why third one is also wrong. So here 2 and 3 both are wrong. Again, I given a wrong set of options here. It should be A, 1 only, I guess. Or in the D, I should have provided 1 only. So 1 only is the correct one. I'm really sorry for these mistakes. Next time I will see and correct it. Okay. So here the option is 1 only is the correct option. Okay. Yeah. So here it is not none of the above, but here it is only 1 only. So now we'll see indexes. Now from this, what did you understand? Like indexes are very important. Like when you see an index in the news, like in the economics page, usually for example in the May, in Hindu, there was a news that PMI has drastically dropped to around 45 or something. That means it is not even close to 50, that is 45. That is the manufacturing has contracted so much. So this is the kind of information that will be there in news. But you also need to go beyond that and know for which it is applied, which releases it, and what are the futures and all. That we'll discuss here in the slide. Yes. So first thing, It is an indicator of business activity published every month by Nikkei India. Nikkei is a Japanese company and that has an Indian branch, and that publishes this PMI. So it has both manufacturing PMI and services PMI. Okay, it is not only for manufacturing. So how they do it, what they do, how they get this index is, they'll go to certain identified companies and they'll ask them what are the orders that you are getting or what are the inventories you have. So based on that information, based on that survey, they will come to an estimate and give an index average that whether there are more orders or less orders. For example, there are more orders and there is less inventory. What does that mean? That means manufacturing is expanding. That means there is huge demand. So they will give rating above 50. For example, the orders are very less and the inventory is very huge. Then they will give an index less than 50. So that is how they will calculate. So that is what mentioned here also. Like PMI is usually released at the start of the month, much before most of the official data on industrial output, manufacturing, and GDP growth becomes available. So another important feature is, like if we go by government indexes, there are certain government indexes also that calculate manufacturing activity. But what happens is, for example, index of industrial production, that is a index released by government, but that index is released 6 months after it is calculated. That means if June is a month they are calculating, sorry, not 6 months, 6 weeks. That means if June they are calculating, they will release it in the month of July or August. So by the time that month has already passed. So to know on a real time basis, PMI will be very useful because it will publish just in the first week of month itself. So that is why it is important. So it is considered therefore good leading indicator of economic activity. So this is about PMI. Now we'll compare this PMI with IIP because we also need to compare, so that if there is a new option that is having both these indexes, then it will be clear for us to choose the options. So now what is index of industrial production? So index of industrial production is an index which details out growth of various sectors in economy, like not only manufacturing and services, but all the sectors that are there in the economy, and categorize them in three groups. Okay, three groups that are mineral mining, electricity, and manufacturing. Under these three groups, it categorizes and releases an index for all the economic factors in the country. And out of this IIP, that is index of industrial production also, there is another thing called 8 core industries. There are government identified certain core industries called 8 core industries, and these core industries itself contribute about 40.27% of index of industrial production. That means if there is 100% weightage, out of that about 40.27% is only attributed to 8 core industries. So what are those? Those are also important. Those are electricity, steel, refinery products, crude oil, coal, cement, natural gas, and fertilizers. Because these 8 are very crucial for economy. If these gets expanded, or if there is so much demand in this, that means economy is growing fast. So that is why they have had huge weightage for this. Now your task is to also see individual weightage for this, or try to see among these 8 which is in the top and which is in the lowest, because there was a UPSC question asking out of these 8 which is in the top, or which is in the first place, or which is in the last place. So try to see that also. They might not ask, but it is better to know. And next thing, IIP is also published monthly, but there is a lag of 6 weeks in the publication of IIP index after the reference month ends. Now research or homework or whatever you name it, what you have to do is similar to what IIP and PMI we done. You have to know about customer price inflation, wholesale price inflation, index of industrial production, same thing. In that the core industries, that 8 industries, what is the weightage and all, and then what is National Statistical Office, what is Central Statistical Office, what is GDP, what is GVA, okay, value added, that, and then all the, and which are the organizations that release them. And the best way to know information about this is go to Ministry of Statistics and Planning Implementation and try to see these indexes, or try to go for Wikipedia or Investopedia, or there is Vikasnet or something where you will have very clear information about all the indexes, because every year at least one question is there on the indexes. That is why I've taken up one, which is current affairs. and I'm asking you to read other things also. So if you do this, you will cover all these indexes. So that is third one. If you're done, we'll go for the next question. Okay. So next important topic that happened in August. Yeah, this is the difference I want to also explain. So if you see here, I've given this in the box. So like PMI is published by Nikki, whereas IIP is published by CSO, that is government office. Second thing, it does not track the actual production. Why? I told they will go and get the number of orders, and that is how they'll put the index. But here, IIP actually tracks the actual production. Third thing, it covers only 500 selected private sector companies, but IIP covers both private sector and public sector. So this is also important. Third thing, here Nikki PMI covers only manufacturing and services, but IIP covers only manufacturing sector, no services. And this is less comprehensive because it covers only private sector. It is more comprehensive because it covers both private sector and public sector. And finally, it is not used for GDP calculation, but this is used for GDP calculation and GVA. IIP used for GDP and GVA. This is simple logic. Because it is a government agency that is producing this index, it will be used for GDP. Because this is by private, it is only to know the immediate potential of economy. So that is about these indexes. Now the fourth question. So try to read quickly. I will also read that and try to mark the answer. Hopefully I've given the right options. So consider the following statements about Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. It prohibits the parties to treaty from possessing, testing and deploying ground-launched cruise and ballistic missiles with range of 500 to 5,500 kilometers. It was a Cold War treaty signed to prevent arms race. And third thing, China has recently withdrew from this treaty. Which of the above statements are correct? And try to mark the right option. So if you have marked the option, then we can discuss this. So out of this three, what is the most suspicion option that you can see here? Like China has recently withdrew from this treaty. So in the recent past, there is only one country that is dominating in withdrawal. What is that country? That is US. US is the one which is withdrawing from WTO, from UNESCO, from WHO, from all these organizations. So you can clearly eliminate this option. So it is US that has recently withdrew from this treaty. So if you eliminate the third option, then B and C both will be eliminated. And then you have to choose between A and D. So again, it is 50% probability. So you can still go ahead even if you don't know 1 and 2. But try to see the 1 and 2. Let's see second one, because first is more factual. Second is, it was a Cold War treaty signed to prevent arms race. Okay, you all know that Cold War is between from 1945 to around 1991. So if you know that arms race is the main thing that happened between US and USSR during the Cold War. So that is why, based on that logic, you can assume that second one is right. If you assume second one is right, then what is the option left with? That is A. So A is the correct option. So this way you have to go logically. Even if you don't know the exact data or exact statements verbatim of the treaty, you can still mark the answer by going by probability or by logic. So this is one way of finding the answers. So the right option is here A. So that is 1 and 2 only. Okay. So now we'll see why INF treaty is important. Yeah. So if you see the news in the recent context, so on August 2nd, US has formally withdrew from INF Arms Treaty. So now what is INF Arms Treaty? INF stands for Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, and it was signed in 1987 between US and Soviet Union. And the major provision is like they should not possess, they should not test or even deploy only ground based. When they say ground based, that means you can have sea based or air based missiles. In that range, only ground based missiles are banned, and the range is 500 to 5,500 kilometers. So this is important point you have to always remember, ground based, because UPSC might give an option like air launched missiles. Then that option will become wrong, even though the range will be correct, because UPSC has a habit of doing this. It will make like students always remember 500 and 500, 5500 kilometers, but they'll not focus on whether it is ground launched or whether it is air launched or sea launched. So here you have to focus also that it is only ground launched. That means missile should be physically present on the ground, not on the sea or air. So that is first provision. Second thing, INF treaty also covers all types of ground launched. This is same thing, okay? And yeah, I have explained again. Both sides are free to deploy air and sea launched missiles within that range, okay? And finally, importance of this treaty is that right now between Soviet Union and US, there is only one treaty after US withdrew from this. That is New START treaty. Okay, and New START is the only treaty that is present in arms race control treaties that is binding US and Russia right now, and that is also going to expire by 2021. So if that is gone, that means US and Russia can deploy any number of missiles and can develop any range of missiles. That means it will go into an arms race. So now why US has withdrew? So this also you need to know. US has withdrew because it says Russia violated this treaty by developing certain missiles in this range. So first is Russia violated. Second thing, who I said are party to this treaty? It is only Soviet Union and US. Okay. Is China party to this? Is India party to this? Or Pakistan party to this? No. This also might be an option in prelims. Remember, India, China, or no other countries party. Only Soviet Union and US. So now they might ask, Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia are party of this treaty. That means that statement is true because Belarus, Ukraine, Russia all are part of Soviet Union. So they are successive members of Soviet Union. So that is why they will be part of this treaty. Okay. And now coming back to why US withdrew. One is Russia violated. Second thing, it doesn't have China under this treaty. So China, out of its 90% missiles, 90% of it are in INF range. So it wants China also to come under this treaty. That is why US has withdrew from this treaty. So that is about INF. So INF is also very important. So now if we are done with that, then we'll go to the next slide, next option. So if we want to detect one important event that happened in August that shook the entire nation, even our constitution itself, that is Article 370 dilution. And the effects of Article 370, even now we are feeling like how the Chinese conflict is playing out and all of it has roots in Article 370 dilution. So on August 5th, there was an important event happened. So that is why we have to discuss this in detail. So we'll try to cover whatever we have it in next 10-15 minutes. Okay. So try to see this question first. So two articles are very important from Article 370 or Jammu and Kashmir perspective. That is Article 35A and Article 370. So the first question is, consider the following statements with respect to Article 35A. It talks about which parts of Indian Constitution extends to Jammu and Kashmir state. Second thing, it was incorporated through presidential order based on Article 370. Third thing, it gives Jammu and Kashmir state legislature power to define who are permanent residents of state. So now mark your option. Which of the statements are correct? So now here also try to go for easiest one or where you have some logic or some knowledge out of these three options. Don't go by options where the facts are mentioned. Okay. For example, if you see the first and two, only when you know what is Article 370 and what is Article 35A, then only you can mark whether 1 and 2 are correct. So don't even consider this first and 2. Go for directly third one. It gives Jammu and Kashmir state legislature power to define who are permanent residents of state. So this is a correct option. Because Article 35A, even if you roughly remember, talks about special privileges and rights to Jammu and Kashmir. What is the whole problem with the Jammu and Kashmir? We all know that the Jammu and Kashmir residents can only buy the property and cannot any other Indian apart from Jammu and Kashmir state cannot go there, settle there, or even buy the property there. So that is a major issue, right? So that is why people say it is creating kind of separatism in Jammu and Kashmir, and that is why BJP government said we will remove that Article 370 itself. So that is why Article 335A talks about this permanent residents of state. So third option is correct. So if you know third option is correct, now see which options have third. B, C and D. So now eliminate A immediately. And even if you eliminate A, still it is going to be difficult until unless you know another one option. But still you can take a guess because now you are having a probability of around 66%, right? Because of three options, you may get one option correct. And next thing, try to see it. Second one, it was incorporated through presidential order based on Article 370. Yes, this is true. If not, what is the purpose of Article 370? Because Article 370 gives certain powers to president to pass certain orders. So based on that order only, Article 35A came into the Constitution. Because Article 35A is not an amendment or a constitutional provision that is already there. It is only added through presidential order. So here that is an interesting point. I'll explain this in further in the slide. So second one is also correct. So now if you know 2 and 3 are correct, which of the options you can eliminate? A and C. Sorry, A and C. Yeah, A and C both you can eliminate. Now it is between B and D. So out of B and D, you also need to know one also now. Yeah, so the first one is wrong. It doesn't talk about which parts that needs to be extended. So first option is wrong. That means B is the correct option for this question. Now we'll discuss in detail about what is Article 35A, what is Article 370, all these things. Okay. Yeah, so history of Article 35A. So now we'll go back a little bit back before 1947. Okay. So we all know that in 1947 we got independence, and then after that there was an instrument of accession, and that's how Jammu and Kashmir was integrated to India. But before that, Jammu and Kashmir used to be ruled by a princely state. It used to be a princely state under British. That means there used to be a king. He is Hari Singh. Okay, Hari Singh used to rule that state. So what he did is in 1927 and 1932 he passed two notifications saying that there are huge migrants that are coming to state and they are changing the demography. So what we'll do is we will regulate the migration flow. How? He invented the concept of this residents of the state. So because of that notification, he said there are certain state residents and they have special rights and privileges. So that is how the first time permanent resident concept came in, even before independence. So that is a history. Now coming back to 1947, after 1947, Jammu and Kashmir neither joined India nor Pakistan. But after a few months, that is after August 15th, in October, Pakistan tried to take it by force by sending militants. So this Hari Singh came to India and asked help. So Indian governor at that time, Mountbatten said, and Jawaharlal Nehru said, if you sign instrument of accession and if you join India, only then we will provide forces and protect Jammu and Kashmir. That's how he signed instrument of accession. Now, what is instrument of accession? According to this instrument of accession, Jammu and Kashmir will be a part of India, but only defense, external affairs, and communications. Only these three aspects will be under the control of Union of India, that is central government. Rest of everything will be under state government. So this is a kind of special arrangement that was signed in instrument of accession. So now what should we do? Because our constitution is different. Like for every other state, there are state, concurrent, and centralists, right? But for Jammu and Kashmir, to give this autonomy or to satisfy this arrangement, they passed or they made an article called Article 370. So that is how Article 370 came. So now this Article 370 is listed under a part 21, that is temporary, transitional, and special provisions. This is the heading of that part. Okay, so under this heading they made this article. So because it is under temporary, many people say it is only a temporary measure to provide autonomy or special status to Jammu and Kashmir. So we can remove it at any time. And other set of people say there is also a word called special. That means it is special provision and it can stay. So it can't be removed. So those are kind of two arguments. Okay. Now coming back to Article 370, what it does is basically Article 370, first article says India can extend the constitution to Jammu and Kashmir, but only under those three lists, that is defense, external affairs and communication. Okay. Second thing, Jammu and Kashmir can have separate constitution. Okay. And third thing, if at all India has to extend any provisions of its constitution or laws, it has to take the permission of or concurrence of Jammu and Kashmir state. When we say concurrence, that means approval of state government or Jammu and Kashmir Constituent Assembly. So this is the three provisions under Article 370. And final thing, final provision in Article 370, that is clause 3 of Article 370 also says the president can pass an order. Okay, by passing an order, president can extend any subject of Indian constitution to Jammu and Kashmir with the concurrence of Jammu and Kashmir state. Okay, here understand the word order, because president can directly do it. There is no need of parliament to make an amendment to the constitution to extend the provisions. Okay, president can directly made it by order if he has concurrence with the state assembly, and even he can remove this entire article also. That is the provision of article clause 3. I'll show you the constitution article itself. So this is the direct verbatim lifted from the constitution. Okay, so I just want to show you. So if you see here, here it is 1 A B, and under B 1 2, and then explanation, and then second clause, and then finally third clause. So if you can see in the third clause, notwithstanding in the foregoing provisions of the article, president may by public notification declare that this article shall cease to be operative or shall be operative only with certain such exceptions. That means president can even remove this article also. So using this provision only, recently government has diluted this entire article. It said because of article clause 3 of article 370 we are diluting this entire article. But there is condition also here, like this last one I didn't mention it because of the lack of space. To have this clause 3, it needs the permission of Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. So that is also condition is there. But BJP says because there is no Constituent Assembly, we'll take the permission of State Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Now there is no State Assembly also. At that time, Jammu and Kashmir was under President's rule. So who will represent state? It is governor. And who is governor? Governor is nothing but appointee of central government only. So effectively, central government asking itself permission to revoke the Article 370. So that's how they removed the Article 370, and that's how it became a controversy because of this clause. So this is Article 370. Now we'll come to Article 35A. So 370 is fine. Now what is the problem with Article 35A, or what Article 35A deals? Article 35A gives Jammu and Kashmir power to define who are the permanent residents of the state, and also defines what are the special rights or privileges that permanent residents can enjoy. So this is Article 35A. So that means state assembly of Jammu and Kashmir can define who will be the permanent residents of that state, and it gives certain special rights, like what they can only permanent residents can go for public sector jobs, only they can go for settlement in states, acquisition of property, scholarship, all these benefits. So now as Article 370 itself is not there, now Article 35 is also completely repealed or diluted. So that is why now people say they can go, and any Indian can go to Jammu and Kashmir and buy the property over there. So this is a kind of Article 35A.